All right, let's dive in. If you've ever felt like your password cracking is just a mess of chaos and luck, well, you're not alone. But today, we're going to change that. We're going to talk about turning that random guesswork into a sharp, professional, and repeatable workflow, all by mastering Hashcat rules. Does this hit a little too close to home? You know the feeling. You spend hours, maybe days, grabbing every word list you can find. You fire up the rig, you wait, and you get almost nothing. It feels like your own terminal is laughing at you. That's the starting line for so many of us, but it's not the finish line. And this right here, this is the whole shift in mindset we're aiming for. We're leaving the old way behind, just hoarding more word lists and crossing our fingers. We're moving to a much smarter way, using targeted rules, having an actual method, and, this is key, measuring what actually works. So let's get right to the heart of the problem. I call it the word list lottery trap. You could have the most incredible, comprehensive word list ever made, and it can still completely fail you. And the reason why probably isn't what you think it is. Think about this for a second. Your word list has the word summer. Perfect, right? But the target's password is summer 2024. So what happened? Why did you miss it? It's not because your word list was bad. It's because your whole assumption was wrong. You were looking for vocabulary, but you should have been looking for a human pattern. And that is the big secret. That's the insight that changes everything. People aren't just predictable with the words they choose. They are incredibly predictable in the patterns they use. They follow these lazy, repeatable formats for creating passwords. And that, right there, is the weakness we can systematically exploit. So, this is the aha moment. If we want to get really good at this, we have to stop thinking just about words and start decoding human habits. This one little mindset shift, it completely changes how you look at your tools and what you're actually trying to accomplish. Okay, here's the mental model that's going to make this all click into place for you. Think of your word list not as your final collection of guesses, but as the seed you plant. And the rules you apply? Those are the repeatable human habits you're testing, one by one. The stuff people do over and over without even thinking about it. So what kind of habits are we talking about? Well, it's all the stuff you see constantly. Capitalizing the first letter, tacking on the current year, dropping in an underscore because, it looks more corporate, or maybe doubling up on exclamation points to feel extra secure. These are not random acts. These are deeply ingrained patterns. And this totally redefines how we measure success. The goal isn't just to churn through more guesses. It's about radically improving the quality of your guesses every single second your machine is running. It's about being efficient, not just being loud. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? We do it with a structured professional methodology. We're going to call it the rule ladder, and it's a repeatable workflow you can use on every single engagement. The rule ladder is simple, but it is so powerful. First, you run a baseline with just a word list. No rules. That's your starting line. Step 2, you add one rule family at a time, maybe just casing rules or just year appends. Step 3, you measure everything. What was the hit rate? How long did it take? And finally, step 4, you curate. You keep what works and you are ruthless about cutting what doesn't. And this is a piece of advice that you almost never hear because it feels so wrong. We're taught to collect things, to add more. But in this workflow, deleting a rule that isn't performing well is a direct optimization. You're not building a museum of rules, you're building a highly effective toolkit. Now, we have to talk about the danger here. Because if you just start slapping rules on top of rules without thinking, you can create this tidal wave of garbage guesses that will totally drown your audit. We have to talk about how to avoid what's called rule explosion. So what is this hidden threat? This one thing that can turn a really smart strategy into a colossal waste of time and GPU cycles, even when you think you're doing everything right. It's rule explosion. The problem is that rules multiply exponentially. You start with a good idea, you apply a couple of rules, and suddenly they combine to generate millions or even billions of candidates that have basically zero chance of ever being right. Let's just look at the simple math. Take a pretty modest 200,000 word list. Not that big, right? Now combine it with a rule file that generates just 200 candidates per word. Boom, you're already at 40 million candidates. You can see how this spirals out of control so fast, and you end up burning your entire run on pure noise. This is the exact mindset you need to have. Think of your GPU time like a budget.
You are literally spending compute cycles to buy signal from the noise. Your job is to get the absolute best return on that investment. Don't overpay by testing junk. So, how do you stay in control? You put up some guardrails. Simple stuff. You cap the length of the passwords you're generating to match the target's policy. You limit how many characters you're adding to the beginning or end. And critically, you always set a hard time limit for every single run. This discipline is what keeps you from drowning. So when you bring all these pieces together, the right mindset, the rule ladder workflow, and these guardrails, you completely transform your process. You stop being a chaotic guesser and you become a methodical professional who delivers results that actually mean something. This table really just lays it out perfectly. The guesser's goal is just crack more passwords. The auditor's goal is to actually reduce the client's risk. The guesser just collects lists. The auditor follows a repeatable method. And the output? It's not just a list of passwords. It's a defensible methodology that you can actually stand behind. And here's a little bit of humor that makes a dead serious point. Your job isn't to create a reckless data dump. It's to deliver a professional report that helps an organization fix a real problem. Handling this kind of sensitive data with care is everything. So if you only remember one single thing from our time here today, please let it be this. This is the core principle. Your focus should always be on improving the quality and the efficiency of your guesses. That's how you turn this whole thing from a lottery into a science. And I'll leave you with this question to think about. Based on everything we just covered, what is the smallest change you can make in your own process right now that will give you the biggest jump in your results? I'll give you a hint. It's probably not downloading a bigger word list. It's taking a smarter step.